Hi folks, how are you all doing? Regarding audio, I know I say this every time, and every time it seems like I've got a new device that I'm using, which is true, because I'm a pain in the arse like that. But I'm using the microphone that's attached to my webcam because it means I don't need to wear a headset, which means I don't get roasting. Well, not quite as fast anyway. But you will just need to let me know, is the audio okay? I think it will be, because when I used it to film a video, people have fed back and said audio sounds good. If it gets a bit shit, or if it's picking up background noise, like there's traffic outside, so if it's picking up that, or if my dogs start barking and it picks that up really loudly, anything at all really, any issues with audio, let me know. I've got the headset there, I can switch over to that, it won't be a problem. Yeah, Golden says great, in the room with you. I don't know if it was you that said that before, Golden. But yeah, someone commented that before. So no, that's good. Also, the shuffling might sound a lot louder. I'm not sure. Look what I got, by the way. This was a wee gift from Sandy, just because he was in Waterstones looking for stuff for himself, and he decided to treat me. Got me the dog Taro. So it's really nice. I've been sitting shuffling it, so it's not in order, but I think it's really sweet. The sword suit, I'm not really sure about. I feel as though they've kind of it's not as hard hitting as the sword suit is supposed to be. That was just my impression from browsing through it once. So it'll be interesting to see how it reads. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a wee bit too... but then again, I don't really want to see bad things happening to dogs in the sword suit, so maybe I'm happy about that. But it's a nice deck anyway. It's the artwork's beautiful, and it's really nicely designed, and we'll see how it reads as an actual reader. I don't just have this, I'm shuffling this, but I've also got some other decks to the side here, so I might chop and change as the evening goes on. I'll go down and say a quick hi to everyone. I'll make sure that I star any questions. So I can see, Tony, you've asked a question, so I'll star that so that I don't miss it. If anyone has a question, then please just pop it in the chat. If you just want a general reading, it's helpful for me if you put, can I have a general reading, or indicate that you don't have a specific question, you just want a general. Sometimes folks will say, can I get a reading, and just leave it at that and not say, and then I'm like, oh, right, okay, can you come back to me with what you want a reading of? So if you're looking for a general, then just let me know that it's a general you're looking for. That's really helpful. Were there any other public service announcements? Who knows? I'm really quite scatterbrained, so I'll probably come back to stuff as always. Right, let's see. I'll make it just my case for now. I'm going to come down and say hi to everyone, and then I've got a wee question that someone submitted on Insta, via my Insta story. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I always kind of a post, usually almost always post on my Instagram story when I'm going to be going live. And I've started putting a wee question box where I'm like, if you're maybe not going to make the live, or if you want to submit something anonymously, or if you just want to submit your question via Instagram, then you can do it via my story, just by answering the question in the story. So someone's done that, so that's quite cool. So I'll do that. I'll read for that person first, and then I'll get through the questions that are in the chat. Harry, hi, it's really lovely to meet you, Harry. You absolutely can have a reading. If you could just pop your question in the chat, or if you want to let me know if it's just a general reading you're looking for, that's fine. Just stick something in the chat. Oh, I see you've actually done that. Sorry. Way ahead of me. Right, let me say a quick hi to everyone. So Elaine Fletcher was here first. Hi, Elaine. I will also ask, see my mods, can you just be on the lookout? I think these free reading lives tend to attract the trolls a wee bit more so than what other than what other lives do. So if you can be on the lookout for any trolls, and if you notice them, just like block them or do what you can to get rid of them. That would be great and much appreciated. Let me see. Let me just make sure I've got enough mods. Incidentally, I'm adding people as mods that I know are here regularly. If you aren't really interested in being a mod or doing any mod things, then don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to. Right, I'm going to stop getting distracted. I'm going to actually go down and say hi to people. So, hi Elaine, it's lovely to have you. I think this might be the first time I've met you. If it is, then welcome. Tony's here. Hi Tony, lovely to see you. Scott's here. Hi Scott. Hope you're doing okay. We've got lovely Golden. Hi Golden. And I have just Scott and Golden and Tony. I have just added you guys as mods. So as I say, I hope that's okay. Lovely Deanne is here. Hi Deanne. I know you'll have karate at some point soon. Well, not you, Maxwell. Roscoe's here. Hi Roscoe. Lovely to see you. Oh, Nikki's here. Hi Nikki. How are you? Roscoe says the companion to the cat tarot. This was cute, but just didn't pick it to read with, so rehomed it. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Golden's looking for a general, as is Elaine. Harry's got his question. Roscoe's got his question. The lovely Naomi's here. Hi Naomi, lovely to see you. Tarot Nut, I think this might be the first time I've met you. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. And Chevy, I've noticed you following my stuff on Instagram, Chevy. Hope you're doing okay. Lovely to have you. Okay, right. I think I've made a note of the questions that are in the chat so far. As I say, I'm going to go to the Instagram questions first. So let me just check. Yeah, we do just have the one. So I'm not sure whether this person wants to be left anonymous or not, but I will just say that, read out the question. So the question is, where will we move next? I'll pull cards for the dog tarot and we'll see how we get on. It will be interesting to see how the cards read this, because obviously this isn't like, they're not going to give me a specific geographical location here. We might just get a feeling for the type of place that they're indicating that you might be moving to. So we'll see how this works and what it says. The restricted section, I think that's Cheryl, isn't it? Lovely to see you. Hope you're doing okay. Okay. Right. So, incidentally, this is the only question that's been asked on Instagram. So, if you're not sure if this is for you, then you're the only one that's asked me a question on Insta. So, if you've asked a question on Insta, then this is your question I'm answering. Where will we move next? Let's see what cards we get. Knight of Pentacles, okay. So this is the Eight of something. Eight of what? I don't know. Oh, it's the Eight of Cups, actually, the wee symbols on there. And then we've got the Five of Wands. Okay. I'm not really sure. This isn't giving me, as suspected, it's not giving me a specific geographical location. I'm not really sure if this is really answering your question, because I don't feel as though it's giving me a where. I'm not even getting a feel for the kind of place. What it is telling me is that in relation to this movement, it's maybe going to be a wee bit slower than what you think it's going to be. The Knight of Pentacles is kind of a like slow and steady wins the race. Don't do anything until it's the right time, and don't kind of force yourself to move or make a change if it doesn't feel right. Okay. And the Knight of Pentacles is the kind of person like feeling right is like, I've done all my planning, I've checked out all of the prospective locations, and I've basically done all of the kind of the research, and I've got myself to a place where I know enough about everything that all of these places, and I've made my mind up about where I'm going. So this isn't someone who's like got that real spontaneity about them. This is someone who is not moving until they're absolutely ready. Now, that is what makes me feel now the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest of all the knights. So I mean, there is still a knight. There is still movement. You see the wee dog on the skateboard here. So there's definitely still movement, but it's just a bit delayed or just not as quick as what you kind of want it to be. With that said, it's immediately followed by the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups, I mean, we see the dog ready to go out for its walk. It's kind of a looking up longingly at the lead. So again, we're getting those feelings of delay. We're getting that feeling of like, I want to go for my walk. Speaking from the dog's point of view here, but it's just not quite time yet. So there is that feeling of delay, but again, there's definitely this feeling of right. I'm ready. I want to go. I know that I need to do something. The Five of Wands indicates that there's maybe a bit of a challenge, a bit of difficulty, sometimes a wee bit of conflict is what the Five of Wands talks about. It's essentially like the unstable. The 5 is the unstable, instability number, and the Wands is the fire element. So when it comes to change, action, movement, all of those kind of things, that's what your Wands is looking at. And like I say, 5 is instability. So definitely there is definitely that kind of a shake up, that movement that's on the horizon. There might be some challenges associated with it that you need to overcome. But this isn't like you're completely defeated card. This is just there's maybe a wee bit of competition or maybe a wee bit of challenge that you're going to have to overcome in order to get to where you want to be. Okay. So that's what I see. In fact, given that, the depiction is like two dogs fighting over a stick, you might actually, if this is like, if you're talking about moving house, you might find that you're up against someone else that you're kind of almost in a bid off for the house. So again, like our night that we had was a Pentacles card. So just make sure that you're kind of you're going into this knowing your finances left, right, like really thoroughly. You know exactly where you stand. You know exactly what kind of offers you can make up to. Be savvy about it. Don't go in with like your kind of a top offer right away. Like you need to be quite strategic about this, especially if this is true and you are going to be up against someone. So that's what I see there. I know that doesn't answer really your question, but I hope that nonetheless it is quite helpful. I'll just finish up by saying, obviously, this is a tarot reading. This is supposed to give you ideas. This isn't something that you should be, basing all of your decisions on. This is just some information to help you make the decision yourself. So make sure that you do take the proper advice. So again, I'm assuming that this is you're talking about moving house. I'm going to look really daft if it's not. But if it is like a moving house situation, then, mortgage advisors, real estate agents, all of those kind of experts, make sure you're taking advice from those people. And if it's not moving house, then make sure that you're taking advice from the appropriate people. Oh, okay. Yeah, Roscoe says only 9:15 here in the UK. Still plenty of time to munch some goodies out of the fridge. Yeah, enjoying yourself there, Roscoe. I saw you on Marian's live too. Oh, nice. Was that or her Instagram live that you're meaning, like in the chat? That was really good. So it was. Oh, I see. Naomi had said coming in was just eating, and then Nikki had said it's a bit late to be eating, is it not? Cool. Okay, let me answer some of the questions that we've got in the chat then. So Tony, what are we feeling? Well, we'll keep going with the dog tarot for now, and maybe we'll change it up at some point. So what's the next step in my retirement from teaching? This is a really nice deck for shuffling, by the way. I didn't say that before, but it shuffles really nicely. Love a good riffle shuffle. So what's the next step in Tony's retirement from teaching? Three of Pentacles, I think that is. Tower. Okay, and the Queen of Pentacles. So we're definitely getting this idea of collaboration with other people, Tony, with the Three of Pentacles there. I'm going to just have a quick nosy through the deck. So that, just see the symbols at the bottom. So this is what I'm looking at. So that's cups, is the kind of a like cup shape that the numeral is within. The wands is the circle with the kind of a wand through it. Let me see, what does this sword look like? I'm actually wondering if I'm going to have to look in the book, I'm afraid, folks, because I can't tell the difference between these suits. Okay, here we go. So wands, like I said, circle with the wand through it. The cups is the wee cup shape, right? The sword is the triangle, which kind of looks like the fire sign, so that's maybe a wee bit confusing. And then the circle is the Pentacles. So this is the Three of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Queen of Pentacles. Right, we're on track. I was reading it right. So, like I say, the three indicates possibly collaborating with others, but do you notice how, and my two dogs do this with all of their toys, they rip them apart. And given that it's right next to the Tower, I'm getting the feeling that in order to get to your Queen of Pentacles, to your place where you're basically able to enjoy everything that you've worked for, it feels like something needs changed up. It feels like we need to kind of almost tear up the rule book a wee bit and just really shake things up. All right, there's big change on the horizon. 3 is generally a card about collaboration, and in the Tower we do see these two wee dogs are together. You know, they're kind of a weathering the storm. They're dealing with what comes together. So whoever is around about you, you know, there's folks there that you need to be kind of working in tandem with. Not necessarily working because you've just retired, but you know, collaborating with. There's people that you need to be collaborating with, and that's going to be key to getting where you want to be. Queen of Pentacles basically represents a nice environment where you can feel safe and secure. We really kind of see that in the imagery here. We see just the human and the dog enjoying each other's company, playing with the ball. Beautiful sunset, beautiful garden. So it feels really kind of like you've come home, but it just feels like there's a wee bit of friction that you need to get through in order to get there. So did I actually answer your question? Kind of. What's the next step? So I feel that the next step is to work out what it is that needs to be shaken up who it is that you need to collaborate with, and that ultimately is what's going to get you to here. So I hope that's helpful. And I don't know why, but I put the deck away in the box. Maybe that's a sign that I should move on and use a different deck for the next few readings. Okay. Malamir, I've just seen you come in. You've said, I have this deck, it's very gentle. I just got it today. Sandy got me it as a wee gift, just cause. And I was just saying at the start of this live, I think it is really gentle. I think it's really nice, but there's one thing, looking through the swords suit, I'm not sure if it has that oomph of the swords. I'm not sure if it has that hard hittingness that the swords tends to have. I know that's not always, it doesn't always need to be represented in that same way, but I'm interested in what other people think. So let me know what your thoughts are on the sword suit particularly. I know you might not necessarily put it in the chat here, but yeah, let me know at some point. I'm interested. Okay. So a general reading for Golden, and I'm going to use the Merikei Tarot. I don't know why I'm holding it upside down. It doesn't help you much, the Merikei Tarot. So this is the deck that I got at the Glasgow Witchy Bazaar. This is actually the deck that I read for Cheryl with, who's here on the restricted section. I did a walkthrough of this deck, and I said it during the walkthrough, like, this deck actually riffle shuffles surprisingly nicely. And I'm always saying, you know, be careful if you're going to riffle shuffle an edge deck, it wears it out, but it's not really done any wearing. There's no wear and tear on this yet. Okay, Golden, a general reading for you. Let's see what we have. Let's see. Okay, let me zoom this out so you can see all your cards. So we have the Empress crossed with the Devil, we've got the Three of Wands above, we've got the Three of Cups below, we have the Nine of Pentacles in the past, and the Ace of Cups in the future position. So let's just do a wee bit of a download and see what we think this is saying. Okay, so Golden, I feel like there's a bit of a feeling of you might find yourself being worried about how you're coming across to people right now, because I'm getting the feeling that you're very much spending time on yourself and making sure that you're doing okay, basically. Lots of self-care going on. The Nine of Pentacles in the past kind of indicates to me that you've basically worked your arse off, you've worked your butt off to get to where you are right now. Kind of out on the inside, we have the Empress, which is where I'm getting the self-care from, particularly because it's beside the Ace of Cups. Really spending some time on yourself. But I suppose that where I'm getting the worried about how it's coming across thing is it's crossed with the Devil. So the Empress and the Devil both kind of deal with themes of indulgence, maybe. sometimes we might see these cards talking to each other when we're talking about like maybe overindulging sometimes. The devil can maybe represent that, you know, that part of ourselves that finds it hard to say no to something or to stop. And the Empress is just kind of a like really enjoying everything that life has to offer. Okay. And the Nine of Pentacles as well, you know, it's like really enjoying all the fruits of your labor, everything that you've worked hard to build for yourself. The Queen of Wands is kind of a like, I'm really comfortable in my own skin. I'm really comfortable with who I am right now. And that's kind of a like on the conscious level, that's like that's stuff that you're actively aware of. What's underneath is maybe the stuff that's flying under the radar. The stuff we're not as aware of is the Three of Cups. So that's kind of your social circle, your friends, the people around about you. There's something right now that feels like this is under the radar because you're really concentrating on yourself right now. And that might be coming across a wee bit like devil energy to some folks, but the fact that it's the Ace of Cups that's coming up there, that to me it's reassuring. It's telling you, do you know what? If you want to spend some time on yourself, some self-care, then you do that, absolutely. The Ace of Cups, so it's like new potential in the area of connection, of emotions. Some people might see this as a kind of a like new love type card because it's that kind of a emotional relationship suit, and the Ace is like a new beginning. But for me, everything starts with yourself, right? You can't, the old RuPaul saying, you know, if you can't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? So it kind of all starts with yourself. So the Ace of Cups for me has always been a card about self-care. So don't be put off by what other people might say or how you might perceive other people as kind of a like the impressions that they're getting of you. The Queen of Wands encourages you, as does the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands, both encourage you to be confident, to, you know, give yourself the credit that you deserve for all of the work that you've put in. Be careful about overindulgence, I guess. I mean, that, you know, that goes for all of us. But, you know, self-care and looking after yourself is not the same as overindulgence, and it's not the same as like being selfish. Do you know what I mean? For selfish sake. Remember that. And just generally to look at what's coming up, just looking at the Ace of Cups in and of itself, that's a really kind of a bright near future that we see. We see, you know, just feeling joyful, happy, inspired, almost like a new feeling of feeling that way. Do you know what I mean? A new feeling of just being content, and it's almost like something coming in that helps you feel like that. That's making sense. Just looking at your comments just to see. Lily, I'm just starting your questions as I catch it. Roscoe's living for the RuPaul comment. Spot on. Oh, I'm glad it's spot on. That's good, because I feel as though I'm rambling. I'm not going to lie. Worked so hard, but it all feels crap. Right. Well, that's maybe why the devil's coming up then in such a prominent position, and that kind of the devil's covering up your Empress. So that's kind of a like you have worked hard, but it's feeling like crap. But the devil isn't defining the whole situation. It's almost like it's just the surface level. You need to kind of like, if you go a wee bit deeper, you'll realize you've got that Empress energy within, and that's a really kind of a powerful feminine energy that you've got there. And coming up, you've got that Ace of Cups energy. So tap into that. Tap into your Queen of Wands. If you need to, you've got your Three of Cups there. So you've got people there who will support you, but it almost feels like you're kind of concentrating on yourself right now. You're concentrating on just being an individual and being just great in and of yourself. But the Devil did. By the way, can we just appreciate how stunning a card this Devil is? I think this is my favourite card in this deck. But that doesn't help you right now, Golden, sorry. Okay. Sherry, general reading, we've started that. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that it's helpful. I can see everyone else is being supportive, so thank you very much, everyone. It's a nice thing about this community we do. We support each other, that's what we're here for. Okay. I thought I'd start that already. So Golden, that was your general reading. Elaine Fletcher is asking for a general as well. In fact, what I might do, I might switch up and use, I've got the, is this the Unfolding Path? Yeah, the Unfolding Path Tarot here. So this is quite a similar deck to the Lightseers. The art has a similar feel. So a general for Elaine. So the Emperor crossed by, crossed the Ace of Cups, okay. The Hermit. So the Three of Swords underneath. So I'm muttering to myself. So if you're like, oh no, I can't hear him now, it's because I'm mumbling. Let's see. Gosh, we'll get threes. A lot of threes. Three of Wands and the Seven of Cups. Okay. Yeah, let's just try and pull all this together. So, Elaine, the Emperor was what came up first, and it's crossed with the Ace of Cups. Now, I kind of need to take all of this line, so that these four cards here, basically taking out these, I need to kind of a look at all of these together because they're all, in a way, talking about what's going on just now. The Emperor kind of goes to the roots of it. The Ace of Cups is more kind of how things are manifesting right now. It's more at the surface level. It's what things are looking at. The Hermit is where your mind is at. It's what your focus is. The Three of Swords is kind of like I'd said earlier, the stuff that's flying under the radar, the stuff that's maybe not as obvious, that your mind isn't maybe as focused on, but nonetheless, it's an undercurrent that is important to the situation, you know. The Hermit and the Three of Swords. So I'm feeling that it's almost like there's a feeling of being a bit removed from something, being a bit removed from, I want to say the team, because I feel like this is, if you don't work or if this doesn't make sense to your career life or your working life, that's fine. But that's just what pops into my head initially. The fact that the Emperor is what came up first, it's making me think like you've you're responsible for a lot. You take on a lot of responsibility. This could well relate to something that hasn't worked, but you take on a lot. You're responsible for a lot, and it feels like a lot of people rely on you, and sometimes that can feel quite isolating, right? Sometimes it feels like it almost sets you apart from the main crowd, and that can have its toll. That can take its toll. It can have a bit of a, you're probably like, oh, it's fine. I'm used to it. That's how I like it to be. I like my own space, that type of thing. That's probably how you feel the most of the time. But there is going to be the odd time when you're like, I want to like get on with everybody, and I just want to have that kind of connectivity. That I feel like sometimes I'm removed from. So if that's making sense, then that's what I'm seeing. So hopefully that does make sense. We're crossed by the Ace of Cups. So the Ace is our new potential. Okay, so the Emperor to me is about structure. I feel like it's that's where I was getting the responsibility from, because it's kind of a manager figure. It's like being responsible for keeping everything secure, keeping everything ticking over. Kind of like what an emperor generally would be, keep the rule of law and all that type of thing. But we're crossed by this new opportunity, by this ace. So it's almost like there's a new opportunity coming up, and the fact that it's at an Ace of Cups suggests it's on a, there's potential for connections to be made there. So there might be this feeling of isolation that might be having a bit of an effect where it does leave you feeling the feels of that isolation sometimes, but there is this new potential around about you. The Three of Wands in the past. So this might be something that this might be something that you've put into play and you've been kind of waiting on happening for a while. This doesn't feel like it's coming out of the blue. So Three of Wands is like, it's all about the energy that we put out into the world, and then we kind of we're kind of got a bit of a perspective and watching what's happening. The Seven of Cups and this kind of a future position is an interesting one, because the Seven of Cups for me is kind of like, well, in this context, it's a kind of anything can happen. It really is going to be what you make of it. There's lots of opportunities to do different things with whatever is going on here with this new opportunity. Just the only thing I would say is not everything might be what it seems. At the end of the day, you do have to go with your heart, but there's no harm in just, looking at everything logically as well, and making sure that you have like an understanding of what's going on. Don't expect everyone to be completely forthcoming and honest with you. Make sure that you do take things with a grain of salt. Make sure that you do kind of a fact check or whatever might be appropriate. But I don't want that to sound negative, because overall it does. It's a card about like different opportunities, and almost like the person here is like fantasizing all of the different outcomes, all of the different things that might be contained in these cups. They almost like they represent all of that person's dreams. So there's potential to do some amazing things here, some things that you've been waiting for a while, or might feel like you've been waiting on for a while. But like I say, just make sure that you do the thing properly, and I feel as though you will, because you've got this Hermit and Emperor energy. So it feels like you're very much the kind of person that will have everything, like you cross your T's and dot your I's, and you make sure that all your ducks are in a row. So yeah, anyway, that's what I see in those cards. I hope that that's helpful for you. Okay. Next question is Harry, and Harry says, my question is what I want to know about my work. So what do the cards have to tell you about your work? What do I have to say about Harry's work? Let's see. Oh, justice. The Sun. Okay, and the Chariot. So this is a kind of a situation, advice, and outcome spread. The situation being justice could mean a few things, to be honest with you. This would make sense if you work in the justice system, or if you work in some sort of it's a weird one. Justice is, you know, when we say the word justice, we think of like the legal system, the justice system, you know. But it also deals with like not just the man-made laws, but natural laws. It deals with cause and effect. It deals with things like science and gravity and all that kind of thing. It's basically all of the structures within which we exist. Justice represents all of those things. So to me, it's the kind of like the cause and effect, or like the karma card. Justice tells you that the energy that you put out into the world will come back. Like every force has an equal and opposite. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, I think, is one of Newton's laws. Oh, I can't remember. That's terrible. I did do a year of physics at uni, but I can't remember any of it. The Sun is the advice card. Whatever it is that this is blooming well talking about, for me, the Sun is an advice card. So the Sun, if we think of the major arcana as the Fool's Journey, the Sun, so the Fool's been on this journey. This is card 19 out of 21. And so the Fool's already been through like 1 to 18. He's been through a lot, and he's almost at the end of his journey. What happens in the Sun is kind of like where the Fool's on this path to like find meaning, find his place in the world, find what makes everything tick, what is the key thing in his life, what all of that stuff. It's like all of the big stuff that Fool's out to find out. The Sun is where the Fool actually realizes that this thing that he was looking for that makes everything tick, this God, or this divinity, or this key purpose in his life, it is actually him. And the Marielle, Marie White, says it really nicely. It's like he comes up to the Sun and he looks and he realizes that it was actually him all along. So this to me comes up when it's like the thing that you're looking for, the thing that you're trying to do in your work, the thing that you're striving to be. You've had it all along. You've got it all along. So see, for example, right? If you're like, so you asked about work. If you are trying to progress, if you're like working hard to try and get better, and you're thinking, right, what do I do? Where do I look next? What do I do next? Who do I go to learn? Who do I go to for advice? All of that kind of stuff. Then what the Sun is saying to you is just stop, take a pause. You'll realize that actually the stuff that you're looking for, you actually know you can do it. And you could do it all along. It's not about gaining new information. It's not about learning new stuff. It's just about having the confidence in yourself to know that you can do it. When you do kind of come to that realization, that's when we get see all this kind of a joy and contentment and happiness that we tend to associate with the sun. That's where that comes from. It comes from realizing that you were the awesome thing that you were looking for all along. Okay. And then the Chariot is the kind of the future card, the outcome card. The Chariot represents, like, it's almost like getting, so interestingly here we see someone kind of astride a tiger. Usually I like the imagery of the Chariot where it's like the two horses or the two sphinxes, or, you know, to me, it's a card about bringing together different elements. It's learning to kind of deal with different things together in such a way that it drives life forwards. So I think that this is a good outcome because this shows all of the pieces coming together and you being able to kind of bring together those elements and, you know, work with them in such a way that it drives your career to where you want it to be. It's very much a kind of success. Like, so one of the ways of looking, I've just realized actually we've got 3 major arcana cards, which is quite interesting. One of the ways of looking at the major arcana is to break it down into 3 rows of 7, 3 septenaries. So the Chariot is the last card in the first septenary, and it represents kind of a worldly achievement. So as to what you need to know about work to actually answer your question in a somewhat attempt at being concise, I think that you need to have the confidence in yourself. If you're looking for this awesome thing outside of yourself, then stop, take a pause and reflect, because I think that you've had it all along. And I think once you kind of gain that confidence, then that's the key to your success, basically. Is having confidence in yourself. Okay. Something else I'll say as well, just because I'm kind of looking down at the images, and what comes to me here is, do you see how, like, she seems a wee bit like kind of almost not uptight is the wrong word, but just very like rigid, and, you know, I am justice, everything is going to go by the rules and everything is the way that it's supposed to be, and I'm here, I've got my 2 things, and I'm very structured in the way that I'm standing, and then you see the sun comes along, and it's almost like he's like, do you see how the red, it's like she's like wearing that red, it's like very kind of fitted on her, and then he's coming along and he's deciding, like, you know, to hell with it, you know, he's just freeing himself. He's not going to be like, he's not letting himself be restricted by things anymore. He's freeing himself, and yeah, that feels like a bit of a message as well. So there's something freeing about appreciating yourself, and that, like I say, that's what feels like it's going to lead to your success. I'll stop rambling there. I hope that was helpful. I've just seen Roscoe saying Agatha all along. I'm really looking forward to that, by the way, because I think she was really good in Wanda, but also I really like Joe Locke, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in it. And speaking of Roscoe, your question is next. So you're saying, how can I best navigate the last part of this year? Oops. Roscoe best navigate the last part of this year. Yeah, I feel like there's... Oh, have we got 3 majors? We've got 3 majors again. Look at this. Look at the unfolding path, just giving it all the majors. I feel like there's change, and you're going to have to be able to deal with the changes that come, Roscoe. If you're hoping to hunker down and for an easy rest of the year, then I think this might be a bit of a disappointment to you, because you've got the Wheel of Fortune and you've got the Tower. So it's like sudden changes, sudden things that are coming along, and, like Wheel of Fortune, the goddess Fortuna, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like, oh yeah, you've had your turn at the top of the wheel, you've had your 2 months at the top of the wheel, now it's your turn to move it. There's none of that shite. The goddess Fortuna represents pure chaos. There's no cause and effect, there's no reason for it. I'm a firm believer that there's some things in the world that are due to cause and effect. There's things that we influence, but there's also some things that we don't. There's some things we just don't have any control over. And cards like the Wheel of Fortune and even like the Tower represent those things that we don't have that control over. So I feel like you are going to have to be able to deal with those things. So I suppose this is a bit of forewarned as forearmed. As the last part of the year might feel a wee bit chaotic to you, but maybe not. Maybe you're the kind of person that thrives on change and thrives on things being shaken up, in which case, have at it. You're going to have a great time. What's interesting is right in the middle there, between these 2 cards of chaos, you've got the High Priestess, who is very still and very calm, very collected in her own wisdom and knowledge. Okay, so whilst you'll definitely have these moments where things will be, action will be required, things will be shaken up, remember to take those moments of pause in between, because that's where you gain your clarity. That's where that's what keeps you going. That's where see where you take those moments to draw on your kind of an inner well, your inner kind of a power. That's what's going to kind of sustain you through this. Because even the most fly by the seat of their pants type of people can only deal with so much of this kind of a tower energy before it burns them out. So don't let it burn you out. Just remember to have those moments in between, those calm moments in between. And sometimes the right thing to do is actually not to do anything. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Sometimes the correct course of action is actually no course of action, and that quite often is what the High Priestess is saying. She kind of acts as a guardian. You've got those 2 pillars, and behind the pillars is that moon environment that represents the full force of the unconscious. And the Fool's just tottering along. He's right at the start of his journey, and he's not ready for that. And the High Priestess is kind of like the guardian that keeps him, that says, you're not ready for this yet. Move along and come around the other way, and come back when you're ready for it. I went off on a bit of a tangent there. I'm not really sure what I was getting at, but yeah. How can I best navigate the last part of the year? Yeah, I think we've answered that. So deal with the change, but have those moments of pause in between. Okay. So thanks very much for your question, Roscoe, and Harry, Elaine Golden, and Tony as well. Let's see, let's keep going. Chevy says, yeah, Marian's live talking about her Kickstarter deck. Yeah, and she's put out a wee video on YouTube. I think it's a walkthrough of it as well. I've not had the chance to watch it yet, but I'm looking forward to catching it. Lily Rose says, will I ever find my true romantic soulmate? So that's a yes, no question. We will see what the cards, what cards come out, what they have to say. Tarot cards aren't the best at answering yes, no, or like closed questions. The tarot cards kind of prefer, they're a wee bit more like give me a subject and I will stand on my soapbox and I will talk at you about it. They're not really good with one-word answers, but nonetheless, let's have a wee look at the question and see what comes up. Page of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and the Magician. I feel like they're already around about you, if I'm totally honest with you. It might be someone that has just come into your life, but the Magician is like someone who's already got all the tools that they need. Seven of Wands is interesting because the Seven of Wands is, sometimes it's a card about being defensive, and it's a card about feeling removed from a group of people. So I feel like the answer is yes, but you're maybe just not seeing them through that lens. This feels like maybe you don't actually like them right now. Maybe you think they're a bit of a dickhead. Or maybe they just kind of I don't know, get your back up, or there's something that's making you quite like, I want to get my wand out and fight here. And it's maybe that page energy. It's maybe that kind of the page is very kind of a spontaneous and really quite enthusiastic. They're out for adventure, and sometimes that can feel a wee bit overwhelming. Sometimes when we encounter the pages in our lives, we can just be a wee bit like, oh, I can't be bothered with your bullshit. I just kind of want to I just want to chill out, sit in my pants and watch TV. Like, stop trying to get me to go out and go to clubs and drink and all that kind of thing, So yeah, so I feel like they're around about you right now. I feel like it maybe feels a wee bit like you're potentially on a bit of a different level from them. But I mean, the Magician, you've got everything that you need. Just because there's this impression that there's a bit of a disconnect, that doesn't necessarily mean to say that that's going to be the case forever. So I suppose what I would say is just be open to engaging with the people around about you, particularly those who you maybe wouldn't otherwise have engaged with. And I think you might be surprised by what you find. So yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, so that was when I was asking about the swords and the dog tarot, so found that as well. I'll message you later with my thoughts. Right, cool, I look forward to it. Roscoe says, swords is my favourite suit. I need to kick ass and cover that whole air spectrum. Stab me in the back, make me bleed, and let me get back up at the other side with an enlightened mind. Fluff be gone. Fair enough. Like I was saying, I just don't know if I'd be able to deal with that if all of that stuff was happening to the wee doggos. So I don't know. I guess I'm kind of happy that they've toned it down a wee bit, but it'll be for time to tell whether I can still actually get the proper meanings of the swords cards out of those cards, if that makes sense. Do like a bit of gentle sometimes. Okay, Lily, so we answered your question, so I hope that was meaningful and helpful for you. I've been on the fence with the Amerikai. I'll need to watch your flip through. Yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a wee comment and let me know what you think. Chevy says, I would love a general reading. I'm going to switch over And you can use, struggle to get that open there, Explorer of the Soul. This is a deck by Angie Bannicky and Casey Jones Inc. It's absolutely stunning, really good deck for reading with. And that's Angie Bannicky as a professional tarot reader. So you can tell this has been kind of conceptualized by someone who actually reads the cards. Okay. So a general reading for Chevy. Okay. So that would be bits, as you can see on the cards. So Knight of Cups, Magician, Ace of Wands, Two of Swords, Devil, Queen of Pentacles. So again, I'm just doing a wee bit of just looking to see what we see here. Chevy, this feels like it's veering into the realm of emotional connections, relationships, dare I say. We've got the Knight of Cups crossed by the Magician. The Devil is in the past. Now, I'm getting the impression that you've maybe been through some bullshit with someone in the past. But it feels like we're over that now. It feels like that is in the past. We're past the shittiness of it. I do still feel so. We've got the Knight of Cups, who's like so Knights are action and Cups are connections, emotions, relationships, emotional connections, all of that kind of stuff. So very active in that kind of a field. And the Magician is like it's a card about it's the active energy. It's the active to the High Priestess is passive. So it feels like we're very much active in that realm, and with the Ace of Wands up above, we're concentrating on new opportunities that are around about us. It feels like there's change, and that's why I'm saying it feels like you've been through some stuff, but we're moving on from that. It's almost like we're in the process of like we've drawn a line in the sand and we're moving on from that. And it's just right now it feels like it's just about having fun and seeing what's out there, and just getting to know people. The undercurrent of it is the Two of Swords, so it feels like there is a bit of a decision to make. So maybe as much as we're moving on from this situation, we've maybe not quite cut ties quite yet. There maybe still is. So the Two of Swords can represent when there's a decision that needs to be made, but it can also be that kind of uncomfortable stalemate place. The Two of Swords is like when you know that there needs to be a tough decision made, you know that it's going to be like ripping off a plaster, but you're at that stage before where you're not quite ready to do it yet. It's like you're you're in this kind of this locked position, and until you make that decision until you make the hard choice, until you tell the tough truth, then you'll find that you're kind of in that place of, that almost like that limbo, on the fence between the past and what could be. So there is definitely the potential for you to kind of a clean move on from that. We see that in the Ace of Wands, and what a potential that is, by the way. We've got the Queen of Pentacles in the future, so I think what this is saying to you is everything's going to be okay. We've got this strong, like, female presence, this strong queen character that represents where you're headed to. But it almost feels like there does need to be that kind of like tough decision that needs to be made, or there needs to be a difficult conversation that just clears the air. There's something that needs to happen in order to completely clear the way to get to here. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. Let me know if it makes sense. Oh, I'm warm. Where are we for time? We're just after 10. Can I be cheeky and ask for a general reading, as I restricted my first reading with a question? I've got a fair few questions before you, Lily. If I can get to you, then that's fine. What I would say though is I don't think of yourself as being restricted by questions. Questions are actually a good thing in tarot. The more specific your question, the more specific an answer the tarot can give you. So when we talk about general, when we do a general reading, I'm just kind of saying what comes to me. Now, I obviously interpreted that last one as being more in the realm of relationships. That might not be the case. So Chevy might be sitting there thinking, actually, that doesn't really make sense. It could apply to my career, or it could apply to my finances in some way. There is a tough decision that I need to make in my career. So with generals, you're kind of like almost at the mercy of how I'm interpreting things. Whereas if you ask a specific question, then I can tailor the answer to what you've asked. So don't feel like by asking a question you're restricted. I almost feel like it's maybe sometimes the other way about. New subscriber. Hi, Semina. It is lovely to meet you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Okay, so in which months will this person contact me? What is he feeling his next action? Right, okay. Let's grab the wider tarot. So I actually don't mind reading timing. I try not to do third-party readings, but given that this is to do with you and another person, one thing that I don't really like to do is to feel like I'm prying on someone else who's not here at the table, the virtual reading table. I don't. This is fine. We're asking about you are kind of asking about what someone else is feeling, and I can't really tell you that. What I can do is look at the dynamic between you and this person. I can try and give you an indication of when things are going to shift with that. I can try and tell you something about the dynamic between you and that person. So as much as I won't be saying this is what that person is feeling, I can try and give you general information about the dynamic, about, you know, just the connection between the two of you. So I'll do that. I hope that that's helpful. And you can take it or leave it as it, you know, as it applies. So we're looking at the dynamic between Semina and Harris. Oops. Okay, Libra, Scorpio. So Libra, Scorpio, Scorpio. So we've got mid-October, the end of October, the start of November. So I would say, I don't know the exact dates, but it's the deacons, the last deacon in Libra and the first two deacons in Scorpio. So we're looking at October, November kind of time. Is when we're potentially going to see a shift there. But what I would say is this can't purely be down to that person reaching out to you. We've got the Six of Pentacles there, and that, so when the cards come up reversed in a timing reading like this, for me, that is the stuff that needs to be dealt with, overcome, worked on before you'll be in a position to realize that shift for that to happen. I don't know if you noticed as well, but when I was shuffling, the Eight of Swords flew out of the deck. So there's almost like there's a restriction there right now, and quite often the Eight of Swords is like a self-imposed restriction. So it's like it's telling you that you've got everything that you need in order to free yourself from that situation, but right now you're very much in a situation where there's a disconnect. You know, there's a wall of swords between you and that person, and it's not just about waiting for them to cross the swords. You've got the ability to do that as well. That to me has been reinforced by the Six of Pentacles. The sixes are cards about harmony. They're cards about, like, you know, meeting from both sides. You know, it's a card of balance, really. And we actually, in the Six of Pentacles, we have a scale. So this does feel like it needs a balanced approach. Again, don't put it all on Harris to contact you or to approach you. You need to make it known that you're interested, or, you know, whatever it might be. You need to make your feelings known for them to feel comfortable to approach you if that's what you're looking for. Taking the timing aspect of it out of this, the fact that we'll get the Knight of Cups does suggest, you know, an approach. It does suggest some sort of offer. So I feel quite positive about it. I think you just need to be willing to meet them halfway. So October, November time, to answer your question, is the timing on that. So I hope that that's helpful. Okay. Boink is here. Hi, Boink. You've asked, my question is if he will get a job in my city this year. That sounds like you're asking a question about someone else, Boink. So if you want to reword it further down, then I'm happy to answer, like, I don't know. I'm happy to read the dynamic between you and someone else. I'm just not really comfortable reading for a question for someone else that's just blatantly someone else, if that makes sense, that's someone else's business. And that's, you'll be able to find another reader that will be more than happy to read for that, and that's fine. It's not from a place of judgment or anything. I'm just prefer not to do readings like that when I'm reading for someone who's not there. So yeah, if you want to kind of reword your question a bit to ask it in more from your own point of view, then please feel free to pop that in. I'll keep an eye out for it. Okay, cool. Message me on Insta then, that'll be great. Sierra says, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. It's lovely to have you. Hope you're doing okay. How did Cameron feel about me inviting him to my birthday trip? Oh, okay. Again, asking about how someone else feels. What I can do is I can pull some cards for just the general between Sierra and Cameron, and we'll see what comes up. What I would say is a lot of the time when you do pull cards for the general dynamic, you do get a feeling as to how someone else might feel. But I would just rather come at it from your point of view rather than someone else's. I feel that generally helps people more, and it feels a wee bit less intrusive. So. Oh, sevens. So sevens are the kind of a forcing yourself outside your comfort zone type of number. The sevens are growth from stability, 3 and 4 together. So stability, and that we've found that a happy place. We've found that place where we're comfortable, but the 7 is where we kind of come to realize that that's not really enough, and we need to kind of force ourselves to grow. And that can be a tough decision to make. That can be quite uncomfortable. Speaking of uncomfortable, we get the moon card. The moon is, it's kind of like the epitome of uncomfortable situations, of being outside our comfort zone. So yeah, in terms of the general dynamic, or if you want to look at this as how Cameron felt about you inviting them, I feel like it kind of maybe surprised, maybe a wee bit of surprising. I feel like just the way that things are going is kind of like, it does feel like it's, and listen, it doesn't feel, I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it does feel like it's kind of a pushing things, it's stretching the limits, it's testing the boundaries a wee bit is where we are right now. And I think that, where things are leading is maybe not quite clear. I think that you need to continue to test the limits. I think that you need to get used to being outside your comfort zone, as no doubt will Cameron, if you want to see where this is leading. But yeah, outside of the comfort zone is what I'm going to summarize that as. So I hope that hope that makes sense. Already feeling chaotic, just as I thought. I try to be the high priestess, definitely hope it can sustain me. Okay. I want to be the hermit, and that's my nature, but need to be a combination of high priestess and emperor. Okay. Okay, boy. So I can see you put your question in a couple of times. but that was half an hour ago. That was well before I'd said. So you can let me know if if you've got a slightly different way you want to word that. Okay. Okay, Lily, you're next. Can I be cheeky and ask for a general reading as I restricted my first reading to question? So, general for Lily. Okay, 5 of Cups. I can't actually remember what cards I pulled for you the first time. 5 of Cups crossed with the Devil. Okay, tough times. Justice, right. Wheel of Fortune underneath, so kind of at the mercy of the forces, and not really having much control. Judgment in the past. Some pretty heavy stuff, to be honest. Feels like we're in quite a difficult place. Maybe like, so the 5 of Cups is a card of, I'm going to say grieving, but I don't necessarily mean grieving in the traditional sense. So we don't just grieve when someone close to us, passes on. We grieve anytime big changes happen in our lives, that kind of pull that we have naturally we're pulled to the way that things were, the way that we're used to things being, and that resistance to change can manifest as a kind of grieving. Unfortunately, we're crossed by the Devil, so that suggests that whatever it is that you're going through, it might be leading to maybe some decisions that don't best serve you. The Devil kind of represents that when we're led by a particular instinct, a particular desire, which, don't get me wrong, devil energy can be powerful and it can really serve us, but it can also be quite detrimental to us. It's basically where we forget to risk assess, we forget to look at the risks associated with things, and we just do things because we feel drawn to doing them. Now, we've got the Justice and the Judgment cards around about us. It feels like there's maybe some sort of external situation, some sort of decision that's been made, something that's basically been completely outside our control, Wheel of Fortune underneath here, that's kind of led to this situation. Where we see it going is the High Priestess. So there is that kind of, and this feels like a reprieve. This feels like a needed rest, a needed pause from what maybe feels like a bit chaotic right now. I was saying earlier on, I think it was when I was reading for Roscoe, the High Priestess represents that kind of, even when I was talking about the Magician being the active, the High Priestess is the passive energy, It's the not necessarily feeling like I have to be active and doing stuff. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to take a pause and not do anything at all. So it feels like we're coming up to a much needed pause after some quite chaotic stuff. It feels like what's feeding into it is maybe being out with your control. But right now, it just feels like there's stuff happening that's just not serving you best. So look towards that High Priestess phase that's coming up. It feels like it's just going to give you the opportunity to take that step back, to gain a bit of perspective, and just to kind of concentrate on yourself a wee bit of self-care, a wee bit of, right, let's plan. Twos are planning, they're planning and developing and like stopping and thinking before taking action. So it's just gaining a wee bit of perspective on the way forward. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. It's not necessarily particularly pleasant, but I hope that it's it's a wee bit of insight that helps. Brilliant. Okay, Malamir, I've just seen you said about Boink, so thank you, and thank you for doing that, Boink. It's appreciated. Penelope, hello to all from this Lancashire lass, love and light. Hi Penelope, lovely to have you. Hope you're doing okay. Just working my way down the comments. Please read the dynamic between us. Absolutely. Right, let's have a look then. So let me just find my way back to your initial question point so I can see how I'm reading the dynamic between. Oh, you just said he. Let's look at the dynamic between you and this he, this mysterious he. Knight of Wands. Sun in the Fool, right? I feel really good about this, and as much as I said I wasn't going to answer your earlier question, the Knight of Wands is about. I mean, we see the airplane there. We see someone who is traveling, who is on the move. So, and this is leading into the Sun and the Fool. So the Sun is that kind of a joyful contentment that we feel, and then the Fool represents kind of like new beginnings and spontaneity. Just doing something just because. There doesn't need to be a reason for it. It's like it represents just taking a leap of faith, really. And the Sun being in the center just feels really, really good. I have really good feelings about it, about the dynamic between you two. I think that it's definitely worth looking into. It feels like there's movement happening that's going to bring the two of you closer together. And it feels really good, really fulfilling, and it's going to bring you a lot of joy and happiness. Or there's the potential for that. There's the potential for it. We always need to work at the stuff. There's always work to be done, but it feels good. It feels really good. I hope that's helpful, and I don't know, the cards have been a wee bit cheeky and answered the question anyway, even though I said I wasn't going to. So, yeah. Please. There you go. Don't say I'm not good to you. Lancashire, but originally from Motherwell. Oh wow, I didn't realise you were from sunny Scotland. That's pretty cool. Naomi Still class myself as a Lancashire lass, even though we are under Greater Manchester. People think you're Irish sometimes. That's quite funny. Thanks very much, folks, by the way, for helping Boink out. That was much appreciated. Need to get Chris down to Wigan for a night out and some fruiteds. I'd imagine that'd be quite good fun, actually. What was I going to say? There's someone, what's her name? Karen Rontowski or something like that. But she's like a comedian tarot reader. So it's like comedy. It's like stand-up comedy she does, but she reads tarot cards. You should check her out on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff. Her videos are really good, and she's really funny, and she's really good at reading the cards, and she's quite funny as well. So check her out; she's great. I don't know why I mentioned that in relation to the prospect of me coming down to Wiggins. I am no comedian. I am not. I don't think I'm a very funny person at all. Generally, if I'm funny, it's because I'm taking the piss out of myself, which is something that we Scottish do quite well. Very originally from the Gorbals, actually. Wow. And then moved to Motherwell. Got a few stories to tell. Wow. Right, well, definitely need to get down to Wigan then, because I want to hear these stories. V. Oh, sorry, V. Is there a list I've just seen? Let's see. Advice, please, in my new connection with Mike. Absolutely. Do you know what, actually? I'm going to go back to start. I'm going to use the dog tarot again. Just cause. Oh. Wasn't a very good shuffle, was it? Okay, so advice on the connection between V and Mike. And Mike. Oh, Empress. Strength. The Hermit. Okay. Three majors, first of all. So whatever this is, it feels like it's a big part of your story, put it that way. I like how the sequence of numbers goes in order. So the Empress, we start out with the Empress, it's number 3, we then have Strength, which is 8, and then the Hermit, which is 9. So it feels like the ducks are all in a row, which is nice. It feels like everything progresses naturally and in a kind of a healthy way where the energy is building. 3s are action, right? It's creation, it's creativity, it's action. It's like the Empress is that nurturing energy that allows things to grow. So right now it feels like this is a time for action. It's a time to so I don't know, what what the relationship is. I don't know if this is a romantic relationship or a business relationship. I don't know what stage it's at, but right now it feels like a time for, going for coffees, if it's like a kind of a romantic thing, going out on dates, having those deep conversations, getting to know each other. Through that, you build confidence. 8s are like mastery. They are like the kind of it's where things become established and they almost kind of take on a life for themselves. And strength, it's not necessarily about like strength, muscle strength. It's more about like, well, it is, but it's about having the wisdom, knowing how to apply that strength. And I like having the confidence in yourself to do so. So through that kind of a building, through getting to know each other, the actions that you're taking right now are helping you build confidence, are helping the kind of the connection become established. We do end up on the Hermit now. The number 9 for me is a card of, it can be a card of completion. It can be reflecting on what's kind of happened before. So it does feel like things are coming to a close with this kind of very reflective energy of this looking back. But it does feel like it's kind of a going in sequence. It feels like it's going in a nice order. And the advice, I think, to answer the actual question that you've asked, the advice feels like it's about just going with it. And if you're finding yourself in a place where you're not really doing much because maybe you're scared to approach them, or maybe you're not sure where it's going, so you're taking a bit of a back seat, now is not the time for that. Now is the time for actually engaging with each other and to kind of form those connections. So that would be my advice, is to get active, to get kind of doing stuff in the realm of this relationship. And build that confidence that we see coming through in the Strength card. So you said, yeah, that you're scared. Right, okay. So that's maybe why you're getting the Strength coming through. The middle position for me is often about the advice. So the Strength, it's a card about confidence. It's a card about kind of having that balance between the kind of a sensible part of yourself, and the animal part of yourself, the base self, the bit that's driven on instinct. So I feel like maybe have a wee bit more confidence to let that animal out, to go where your passions lead you. Yeah. I hope that helps. What you said about building confidence is what I need to hear, right? Okay. But I feel the key to building that confidence, like I say, is through getting to know each other. It's through kind of forming that connection, going on walks together, going on dates, or, going for coffees and like having those conversations, really getting to know each other. Arguments as well, there's nothing like a wee argument to get your passions up and to get to know each other. That's how we kind of we get to know people, is by seeing where we clash, seeing how we bounce off each other. But yeah, anyway, I hope that was helpful. Hello to the tarot reader with lovely tones. Oh, why, thank you. Flattery will get you absolutely everywhere. This whole session has been such a fun and chilled vibe. I had an awful week, and this has just been, I'm sorry to hear that you've had an awful week, Roscoe. And whoever it is that's made your week awful, I hope that their next shit is a porcupine. You're very welcome, Boink. I'm glad that it was helpful for you. Cool. Okay, Mahi, this will be the last question that I read for, because it's getting towards my bedtime. I get on a Friday morning. I don't work on a Friday, but I do get up early to take my other half into work, and I go and do the food shop. So, yeah, Friday's an early rise for me, so I do like to be in my bed at a kind of decent hour. Oh, what was that? That card wanted to come out, and it kind of wanted to come out reversed. Who are you? You're the Six of Swords, but you wanted to be reversed. Right, let's pop that there. And what was the question? Current feelings of Ahmed for me. So let's just generally look at the dynamic between you and Ahmed. Four of Cups, Queen of Wands, Page of Swords. So what I would say is right now it feels like there's something not quite right about the environment. I don't know where or how you know Ahmed, or you know what context you know them in. So this might be someone from work, or you know, but I'm just getting the feeling that whatever it is that you tend to run into them, whatever it is that you tend to interact with them, there needs to be a change there, because so the Six of Swords is typically about, it's where we move from a tumultuous place to a better place that just gives the situation more clarity. The fact that it's reversed suggests that we're kind of blocked in that difficult place, and that there needs to be a change put in place by you. Something needs to be changed in order to like almost reverse this, in order to get yourself to a place where the environment is right. So it's kind of like getting things, just doing a bit of work in order to get the settings right, you know, just tweaking your settings a wee bit in order to get things to be where they need to be. So the Four of Cups is kind of describing the situation as it is now, where it's kind of locked in this place, and it does feel a wee bit. So fours are stability, right? So there is a certain aspect of stability there, but the element of water, it's not really meant to be stable. It's supposed to move, it's supposed to flow, it's supposed to be able to change shape. When water becomes stable, we're starting to deal with ice, and that is unchanging. It's cold, it's frosty. So things are just feeling a wee bit frosty now, and I feel like it's to do with the environment. The advice is the Queen of Wands. So that suggests to me that you've actually got this really amazing personality, this really warm personality that really draws people in. But you're just not getting to show that off because of the context that they're experiencing you in. Where things are going, the Page of Swords. So pages are initiates, they're new starts. It's like a new beginning into something. So it does feel like there needs to be some kind of change. And it's a sword, it's an intellectual card. So there needs to be a wee bit of thought, a wee bit of consideration put into it. Okay. So a wee bit of brainstorming to be done, a wee bit of thinking about, right, what are the changes that I need to make that might make a difference here. You know, don't just go with the first thing that comes into your mind. That this isn't asking you to go with your heart or go with your instincts. This is asking you to kind of put some thought into the situation and actually bring about a change that's going to, that's going to let them experience this warmer, more inviting side of you, and it's going to kind of almost like reverse this to a point where the you know, where you're experiencing each other in the right scenario and the right setting. So I hope that is helpful, Mahi. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading for you this evening, and the questions have been coming in thick and fast, which is great. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. I'm going to tidy up my desk because I'm always moaning about my husband not tidying my desk. So I need to actually do what I'm always asking him to do and clear the desk. And then I'm going to head through. Let me think, have I got anything to tell you? Next week, it's not next week, in 2 weeks, I'll be live with Simon, and we will be we'll be throwing back to the Wildwood Tarot, I believe it is. So don't miss that. Apart from that, I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Take care. I'll see you all later. Bye.